There are roughly 2,600 billionaires on the planet, and even among them, most will never sit behind the wheel of the cars on this list. These aren't machines you find at a dealership. They're built behind closed doors, assigned to collectors who spent years proving they deserve the invitation. Today, we're counting down 10 cars that exist in a world most of us will never touch. And I'll be upfront with you. The car at number 1 completely rewrote what I thought a car could even be. Number 10. Koenigsegg Jesko Absolut. Out of a small town in southern Sweden, a company with fewer than 500 employees has been quietly embarrassing every major automaker on the planet. Koenigsegg has never spent $1 on traditional advertising. No commercials, no celebrity deals, just engineering so extreme the cars sell themselves before they're even finished. Jesko Absolut was designed with one obsession: eliminate drag. Every surface shaped to cut through air like it isn't there. The result? A theoretical top speed above 330 miles per hour. Over 530 kilometers per hour. If proven, the fastest production car ever built. A 5.0-liter twin-turbo V8 producing 1,600 horsepower on E85 fuel, channeled through a gearbox with zero shift interruption. The power never stops, not for a millisecond. Inside, it's surprisingly minimal. No excess leather, no gold trim, everything serves the drive. For the people who understand that philosophy, it's more luxurious than decoration could ever be. The price? $3.4 million. Every unit is spoken for. The waitlist isn't open. You had to already be on it. Number 9. Lamborghini Sián FKP 37. Now I know what some of you are thinking. A Lamborghini on a list like this? Stay with me. The Sián isn't the Lamborghini you're imagining. This is a machine the brand built to prove they could do something nobody expected from them. Look forward. It's Lamborghini's first electrified production car, a 6.5-liter naturally aspirated V12 paired with a 48-volt supercapacitor system, pushing a combined 819 horsepower. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. That's 0 to 62 miles per hour in under 2.8 seconds. But the Sián's real story is scarcity. Lamborghini produced exactly 63 units. That number isn't random. It references 1963, the year Automobili Lamborghini was founded. Every detail on this car carries meaning if you know where to look. The body is pure angular aggression. Hexagonal motifs across every surface, headlights, intakes, taillights. It doesn't look like a car trying to be futuristic. It looks like something from a future we haven't built yet. And if you think Italian engineering stops at Lamborghini, just wait. Italy has a few more entries on this list, and what they've built goes even further. For $3.6 million, the Sián sold out before it was officially announced. That's not marketing. That's demand money alone can't manufacture. Number 8. Bugatti Chiron Super Sport 300 Plus. In 2019, a car crossed a barrier engineers once called physically irresponsible. 304.77 miles per hour, 490 kilometers per hour, and the car that did it wore this body. The Chiron Super Sport 300 Plus packs an 8.0-liter quad-turbo W16, producing 1,578 horsepower. For context, that's roughly the output of 13 Honda Civics fused into a single drivetrain. The extended tail stretches 25 centimeters beyond the standard Chiron to smooth out aerodynamic wake at speeds where air itself becomes the enemy. Nothing on this car is decorative. Everything earns its place. The interior is restrained, almost quiet. Hand-selected leather, bespoke finishes, and a cockpit focused entirely on the driver. Because at 300 miles an hour, distractions aren't just unwelcome, they're dangerous. Roughly $3.9 million, only 30 built, each numbered and assigned to a collector Bugatti already knew by name. And here's something worth knowing. This is the first of 3 Bugattis on this list. That's not repetition, that's dominance. You'll understand why as we go. And here's the thing, we're still in single-digit millions. The cars coming next, some cost more than entire neighborhoods. If the last three felt exclusive, the rest of this list is about to redefine what the word even means. Number 7. Aston Martin Valkyrie. Most car companies design for the road and occasionally dip into racing. Aston Martin did the opposite. They started with a Formula One car and asked, how close can we get to making this street legal? Co-developed with Red Bull Advanced Technologies, the Valkyrie packs a Cosworth-built 6.5-liter V12 with hybrid assist, 1,160 combined horsepower in a car that weighs about as much as a mid-size sedan. The underfloor aero generates enough downforce to theoretically drive upside down through a tunnel. I know that sounds absurd. It's meant to. You don't sit in the Valkyrie, you wear it. Feet higher than your hips, steering wheel detaches so you can climb in, and when that Cosworth V12 climbs to its 11,100 RPM red line, the sound alone is worth more than most sports cars on the road today. Here's a detail most people miss. The Valkyrie's V12 was designed without a single turbocharger, because Aston Martin wanted it to rev like a Formula One engine from the early 2000s. In a world obsessed with hybrid everything, that kind of stubbornness is almost romantic. At $3.5 million, with only 150 road units built, this is the closest a civilian gets to the F1 grid without a racing license. Number 6. Bugatti Divo. Bugatti number 2 on the list. For decades, this brand chased one thing above all else: straight-line speed. The Veyron rewrote the record books, the Chiron pushed further, but the Divo asked a different question entirely. What if we built the fastest Bugatti around a corner? Same W16 engine, same 1,479 horsepower, but 35 kilograms lighter with reworked aerodynamics, generating 90 kilograms more downforce. 8 seconds faster around the Nardo handling circuit than the standard Chiron. In this world, 8 seconds is a lifetime. The body is where engineering meets sculpture. The rear fin splits the airflow. NACA ducts channel cooling to the brakes. Every surface serves a function. But the way it all comes together creates something that looks like it belongs in a gallery, not a garage. And honestly, if I had to pick one Bugatti on this list purely on looks, this would be it. The Divo has a presence that photographs can't fully capture. You'd have to stand next to it to understand. Only 40 were made, all sold within minutes of the private unveiling. $5.8 million each. Bugatti didn't need to market it. They made a phone call and it was done. Number 5. Pagani Huayra Codalunga. Alright, we're past the halfway point, and I want you to sit with something for a second. Every car we've covered so far, that's the affordable end of this list. The 5 ahead exist where price stops being a real number and becomes a symbol. The Pagani Huayra Codalunga is where that shift begins. Horacio Pagani left Argentina with almost nothing and reportedly slept near a Lamborghini factory trying to get hired. Decades later, his name sits on some of the most exclusive machines ever built. The name Codalunga translates to long tail in Italian, and the body stretches 36 centimeters beyond the standard Huayra, creating one of the most graceful silhouettes in automotive history. If this is your first time hearing the name Pagani, remember it. What this man builds isn't engineering. It's closer to devotion. Pagani doesn't build their own engines. They never have. Instead, they commission them from Mercedes-AMG, a partnership stretching back to the very first Zonda. The Codalunga gets a 6.0-liter twin-turbo V12, producing 829 horsepower. But numbers feel beside the point. This wasn't built to win a drag race. It was built to make you stop and forget you were looking at a machine at all. The interior is where Pagani operates on a level nobody else touches. Hand-formed aluminum, exposed carbon fiber, switchgear that feels like vintage aircraft controls. Every surface asks you to slow down and appreciate the craft. Only 5 exist, $7.4 million each. Pagani hand-delivered every one. Number 4. Bugatti Centodieci. Yes, this is the third Bugatti on the list, and no, I'm not sponsored. At this price point, Bugatti simply occupies more space than anyone else. So let's talk about why this one earned its place. If you grew up in the 90s, you might remember the Bugatti EB110, a car that was decades ahead of its time and criminally underappreciated when it launched. The Centodieci is Bugatti's apology letter to that car, written in carbon fiber, titanium, and 1,600 horsepower. The name means 110 in Italian, honoring Ettore Bugatti's 110th birth anniversary. The design echoes the EB110's flat front and horseshoe glass engine cover, reinterpreted through modern engineering. The quad-turbo W16 launches it from standstill to 100 kilometers an hour in 2.4 seconds. Inside, every cabin was personalized to the individual buyer. Bespoke leather, custom stitching patterns, carbon fiber weaves selected one by one. No two Centodieci share the same interior. 10 cars, 10 different worlds behind the door. And I'll tell you something most lists won't. Money wasn't enough to get one. Bugatti personally vetted each buyer. Wrong collection, wrong history with a brand, your $9 million got politely declined. Let that sit for a second. We're in the final three. And if you've made it this far, you already understand. We're no longer talking about expensive cars. We're talking about objects that blur the line between machine and myth. If this is the kind of content that keeps you watching, hit subscribe. Not for the algorithm, because this rabbit hole goes much deeper, and I plan on going all the way down. Number 3. Pagani Zonda HP Barchetta. 3. That's not just the ranking, it's the total number that exists on Earth. 3 Pagani Zonda HP Barchettas, fewer than the number of people who walked on the moon. This is the final evolution of the Zonda platform, a car Horacio Pagani spent over a decade perfecting. And the HP Barchetta is the version he built because he wanted to, not for a customer, not for a market. The first unit is his, a naturally aspirated 7.3-liter V12 producing 789 horsepower. No turbochargers, no hybrid assist, no electronic safety nets, just displacement, fuel, and fire. And with the open top, that V12 doesn't just power the car, it provides the soundtrack. Anyone who's heard a Pagani V12 at full scream will tell you it's the closest a car engine gets to music. The chopped windshield, the exposed carbon fiber rear fairing, the hand-beaten aluminum body panels. This car looks like it was sculpted by someone who doesn't draw a line between engineering and art, because Pagani never has. Estimated value, over $17 million. But you can't buy one. They were never offered publicly. The 3 owners were chosen by Pagani himself. This isn't a car you purchase, it's a car you're granted. Number 2. Bugatti Voiture Noire. 1 Voiture Noire in the entire world. The name translates to the black car in French, Bugatti's tribute to the Type 57 SC Atlantic, arguably the most famous car in automotive history. The original disappeared under mysterious circumstances decades ago. Some believe it was destroyed during the war, others think it's sitting in a hidden collection somewhere, waiting. La Voiture Noire is Bugatti's way of resurrecting that ghost. The W16 delivers 1,479 horsepower. But that's almost incidental. This car was built to exist as a singular object, a one of one. The bodywork is hand-shaped carbon fiber, finished in a black so deep it absorbs light rather than reflects it. No visible seams. 6 exhaust tips arranged more like architecture than mechanics. It shapeshifts depending on where you stand. Every element was co-created between buyer and Bugatti, not configured off a menu, commissioned from nothing. $18.7 million at the time of sale, the most expensive new car ever sold. And the buyer's identity? Still unknown. Some things at this level stay private by design. What stays with you about La Voiture Noire isn't the price or the power. It's that someone looked at a ghost from automotive history and said, "Bring it back." And Bugatti did. Once. For one person. Then closed the door behind them. Number 1. Rolls-Royce Boat Tail. There's a reason I said earlier that the number one car rewrote what I thought a car could be, because the Rolls-Royce Boattail isn't really a car. It's a philosophy cast in metal. Built by hand at Rolls-Royce's home in Goodwood, only 3 were ever commissioned. 3 clients approached Rolls-Royce with a vision, and the Coachbuild division spent years making each one real. Each Boattail is fundamentally different. Different colors, materials, layouts. They share a silhouette, but not a soul. The rear deck draws from 1930s J-Class racing yachts. Open the hosting suite and it deploys a canopy, cocktail table, champagne refrigerator, and custom silverware. This car wasn't designed for driving. It was designed for arriving. The coach lines in the body are hand-painted, not printed, not applied. Painted by a single artisan whose hand has to remain steady enough that a line running the full length of the car doesn't waver by a fraction of a millimeter. That's the level of obsession we're talking about. Under the hood sits a 6.75-liter twin-turbo V12, producing 563 horsepower. Compared to everything else on the list, that sounds modest, and that's intentional. The Boattail doesn't need to be the fastest. It moves the way wealth moves, silently, with no need to prove anything to anyone. Approximately $28 million each. Every car on this list was built to be extraordinary, faster, rarer, more powerful. The Boattail looked at all of that and said, none of it matters if you haven't answered the real question. What does your life look like at the very top? And then it became the answer. 10 cars that most of the world will never see in person. And I'll be straight with you, covering these machines every time shifts something in how I think about what a car can mean. But I'm curious, forget the money. If you could have one from this list, not to sell, not to display, but to actually drive, which one and why? Drop it in the comments. I read them, and honestly, some of you have better taste than the billionaires buying these things. If you're asking me, I keep going back to the Zonda HP Barchetta. Maybe it's the raw V12 with no electronic leash. Maybe it's the fact that Pagani built the first one for himself. There's something about a car that exists because its creator needed it to, not because the market demanded it. That's rare in a way money can't quantify. If this is the kind of thing that keeps you up at night, wait until you see what Italy has been building. 7 supercars so extreme they make everything on this list look restrained. That video is coming next. Subscribe if you want to go deeper. I'll see you in the next one.